Indiana. Boy, this team has so many question marks. I actually just did not know how to like really grade this team when I was looking back at it. Sure, you watched the film last year. It was not pretty. It was not. Who did they lose? Really, no one important. No one like this team was bad. They won 4 games. I don't know how they won 4 games last year. I'll tell you who they beat though. They somehow beat Illinois, which by the way they should have lost. That now okay, shoulda, woulda, coulda, whatever. That's a game that they were lucky to come out winning. Lucky to come out on top of. They beat Idaho by like 12 or 13. Then they beat Western Kentucky in overtime. I don't know. So this team was not particularly great last year. They bring in a boatload of transfers. You see on the screen, key returners. Those are all transfers, by the way, because the people that were returning this year, I don't know that they're exactly key. What are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, they ranked 17th in transfer portal ratings, which on the outside looking is pretty good because they needed an overhaul of this roster because it was bad. They've been 6-18 in the past 2 years after a really good stretch between 2019 and then peaking in 2020 with Michael Penix and all those guys. They almost beat Penn State, right? Or maybe they did, and it was a weird call at the end of the game. But anyways, they brought in 23 guys. That's why their rating's so high. Yes, they got Tavon Jackson is a good player. Andre Carter, it's a big time transfer. I know they love him. But the depth, you have no idea what you're getting with these new guys coming in. That's why I'm not going to play this line. I think 3.5 is low, very low, but I don't think it's worth hitting the over on. I don't really see them going 4-8 again this year. But who knows? It could be a year where they hit on these transfers and then nobody sees it coming and they have a great year. But yeah, interesting enough though, they took like a bunch of Stanford guys. I was looking through their new guys, and it was like 4 or 5 guys that they took from Stanford, and which is it's kind of interesting. I don't know what the connection there is between Indiana and Stanford, but I guess it ended up Stanford was terrible last year, so I don't know what that means for them.
Yeah, here's what I'll say though. Like instead of like firing his coordinators, Tom Allen decides, I'm gonna get fired this year anyways, right? I'm just gonna go hire co-coordinators, right? Because that works all the time. We've seen for sure. Uh, I mean, Chad Wilt, I guess that's his second year there in defense, but then he went and hired Matt Guerrieri, I think. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry about it, Indiana fans. But I mean, I just didn't see offensive line is a big question mark. I get it. They were a little bit banged up last year, but 118th and 121st in pass and run blocking respectively. And what they brought in 3 transfers on the offensive line. Not a ton of huge names there. Maybe Max Longman's got a shot to play, but that'd be my biggest issue. I think Tavon Jackson might be a decent quarterback for them. But I mean, at wide receiver, they're not looking super impressive with these names. I think if they're going to improve somewhere the most, I think it'd be defensively. I think they brought in some good transfers on the defensive line. I mean, Jameer Johnson's a pretty decent transfer at cornerback. Nicholas Toomer might start at corner. I think Marcus Beers Jr., that's some depth there on the interior defensive line. I don't know. This defense was horrible last year. You can see on our screen, points per game, 35 points per game they were letting up. Yikes. Yikes. And offensively, they're not much better. Fun fact, they beat Michigan State and scored 39 points on them by completing 1 pass in regulation. And then they completed another one in overtime. That was a pretty big one to the tight end, but got them down to like the 4-5 yard line and they punched in for the win. But man, I can't touch this line with give me a 30-foot pole, won't do it. 40-foot pole, won't do it. 70-foot pole, I won't do it. I am not touching this line. Not even close. I do think while you're saying you think it's like too high or too low, I don't think this is too low at all. I think, I don't know. I think Tom Allen's pretty desperate right now. So it could be a wounded animal mode. So that could be what this team is. They could be scrappy. They could find a way to win some games. They have interesting out of conference, but what do you know?
I think a guy to look out for is DeQuise Carter, I think his name is, a wide receiver from Fordham. I know they really like him so far. He's transferring in there. He's going to be a senior. So he's obviously never played at the FBS level coming from Fordham, but I know they're pretty high on him so far. I think he's going to pan out. Probably going to be one of their only, offensive weapons on the outside there. Donovan McCulley and Cam Camper are fine. Nothing special at all. Those three will probably round out the group. And then EJ Williams is a guy from Clemson, but it's more of a name coming from Clemson. I don't know how much he's going to really play or impact the team. The best addition for them was Bob Bolstad, I think, on the offensive line, being the new offensive line coach from Wisconsin. They had a ton of success recruiting and on the field at the O-line there. And that was a must improve there. They needed to improve that line. So, yes, I don't know how much they really overhauled it with those two transfers that don't really get you too excited. But you hope they're going to be better technique-wise and coached because put in better spots to win because of this new offensive line coach. They also have a new play caller on defense coordinators, Matt Guerrieri. I think Tom Allen used to call plays, or last year he did, and they gave him up.
That's what I was saying about hiring a co-defensive coordinator. That's what he did this year. So, right, because what's his name is still there? Chad Wilt. He's still there, but they went and hired at Guerrieri to, I guess, call play, be a co-defensive coordinator or whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but that's the information that I've been fed. So, anyways, what do you think? I think Andre Carter is probably their biggest addition on defense. What do you know? What do you want to say about him?
And he's a big time dude, big time get. He had 37 sacks in the last 2 years, I believe, coming from the MAC there. Instantly gives them nice pass rush ability, which they need bad. Coming in that the Big Ten East is a little bit different than the West, where you do have some passing offenses where you do need to get pressure on the quarterback is priority number one. He'll be on the other side of him will probably be a transfer, maybe not. Miles Jackson's there, but also Anthony Jones and Laniel Carr coming in, two transfer guys that will compete with Miles Jackson for snaps. He's going to need help, Andre Carter, because if everyone's focused on him, he's going to get double teamed and chipped and whatever else. So he's not going to have that big impact that you'd like him to. An interesting guy. I want to hear your thoughts about Marcus Burris coming from A&M. I know he's a high recruit at some point. So what are your thoughts on him coming to Indiana?
Did not have much playing time. I think he had like almost 40 snaps, maybe all of last year. How do you crack that defensive line? How do you do it? So I think this is a good addition for them. They needed help in the interior. I mean, he's a pretty big guy. So he's 6'4", 290. I don't know. Maybe add some length there in the interior. I think he'd be pretty good. I'm not going to say he's a game changer, but I think a new scene will definitely benefit him for sure.
Well, that's what's hard about this analysis here is because you have so many transfers coming in. It's not like these guys are crazy proven. Most of them, obviously, Andre Carter is a stud, but a lot of these other guys didn't get a ton of playing time where they're coming from. So you have no idea what you're to expect. And with the new play call on defense, or just new coaching on defense with the co-defense coordinators, and then the new quarterback coming in on offense, I think it's going to be a total brand new Indiana team. Still might lose 9 games. But I think whatever it is, it will be different than last year, which I think is the reason why Tom Allen is so desperate to make all these changes.